welcome. Take It Up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Matt Carter, who's the CEO of Aryaka. Hi, Matt. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jessica. It's good to be here.
I'm delighted you're here to talk about SD-WAN, but in particular, managed SD-WAN.
Yes.
Now, please tell us, because I know you guys are doing great. You've got a lot of customers, over 360 employees at this point, global provider. And managed SD-WAN is an area that I think a lot of companies would benefit from instead of owning that responsibility. Please tell us.
Absolutely. So what we do, we go into global enterprises and take away their most complicated pain points around digital transformation. And it's really, as companies are moving more towards the cloud, more towards digital transformation, they have to put together a global network, and they have to work with multiple vendors to be able to do that. With Aryaka, we're a single source vendor who can deploy that for you around the globe anywhere.
So you're taking away that headache.
Absolutely, and it's a big headache from last mile procurement to regional deployment to global deployment. So if you're looking to open up office sites in the hinterlands of Asia or Africa or wherever it may be, we can handle that all for you while at the same time providing you with what's called last mile circuitry. So end-to-end connectivity anywhere around the world.
Wow. Now that's definitely a value, because as companies scale, they may start out in the U.S. and they go to Europe and Asia. As they're expanding, you're able to keep up with that scaling very effectively for them, and it's cost effective too.
That's exactly right. And actually what we really help companies to do is companies are moving more towards cloud, getting those applications around the world in their enterprises. We're able to create for them a consistency around the globe, helps them to be able to be productive immediately. Typically, if they go to a service provider who needs to deploy a private network for them, that could take up to 9 months. With Aryaka, it takes up to 30 days to deploy that network around the globe. So they can be up and running very quickly versus having to wait 9 months to be productive.
Maybe you can give us a use case.
So absolutely. So I'm just going to call the company Acme Inc.
Okay.
Who came to us and with a mandate that they were expanding more globally, opening up new markets in Asia, in Europe, and in Latin America, and they needed to be up and running and have these offices set up within a 6-month time frame. We were able to help them to deploy over 300 sites around the globe within 60 days.
Wow.
So that helped them. They can start selling more, they can get their employees productive earlier, and it helps them in terms of their bottom line and top line growth going forward. That's typically the kind of use cases we see. Hey, we need to open up sites someplace around the world. We have employees that are there. We have to make sure that they can access our applications. We're able to provide that on a timely basis for them, much faster than the current incumbents.
Okay. Let's turn and talk about your career journey, Matt, because I think that it's Black History Month, and I'm so delighted that you're in tech, you're CEO, and you've done tremendous work in working at Sprint, bringing tremendous value to that company, and you've been on the Aryaka team for like a year and a half now,
That's
right?
Correct. Yep.
So they invited you on because they wanted to see huge growth in this area.
Well, they really looking for a CEO who can help scale, right? So my sort of niche is that I go into enterprises, I'm able to help those companies pivot, create go-to-market strategies, new product innovations, and help us to quickly grow and scale going forward. And so when they were looking at somebody to fulfill the new role as CEO at Aryaka, what they wanted was somebody who had the competence, the experience, that knew how to do that on a global basis. And the most important thing, in addition to being a good leader, but somebody who also understood innovation. So what we really honed in on at Aryaka was really growing our TAM, making sure that we had the product innovation pipeline that allowed us to take advantage of this huge market opportunity that we see in SD-WAN.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I know it's a hot market, SD-WAN. But let's talk about your career moves and the choices you made. I think there's a lot of younger folks who are looking to enter the tech industry and trying to figure out the career and how to advance in the organization. What tips would you share with them?
We're paid for what we know, right? Companies will hire you because you're good at marketing, you're good at product development. But it's what you don't know that actually makes the greater difference. And so I've been able throughout my career to step outside my comfort zone. I started off as a marketer, so marketing things around the globe. But I wasn't just comfortable staying there in marketing. I wanted to grow and learn. And so I took on different assignments that were outside, say, my core area of competence. And so I think as you look at your own career, you certainly can specialize, and be deep, have deep experience in a particular functional area. But what's going to constantly give you the differentiation, the ability to bring creative solutions to a problem, is your ability to step outside your comfort zone, learn new things that you can apply versus the conventional ways of doing things. So that, to me, if I look back at my career, has been truly the most differentiating thing versus what others have done, which is just sort of stayed in the same space. I've been able to travel outside that space.
Well, let's talk about getting out of your comfort zone.
Sure.
Because, I think it takes risk, right? You have to be willing to try something and take the risk of failure. Or you have to have the initiative to do something that people didn't ask you to do, right?
Right.
So have you tried and done stuff that maybe no one really asked you to do, but you want to do because that shows the initiative you have?
So I embrace failure. I'm not afraid to fail. And I'm not afraid to be embarrassed. I'm not afraid to have tried something and didn't, turn out to be successful. But each of those things that I've tried have been learning experiences for me. So if you maintain the bigger picture focus, don't just focus on the initial failure. Focus on, did the failure teach me something? And then did that teaching help me to apply to the next endeavor? So I've always embraced failure. I like to learn. I'm curious-minded. And those things have been, I think, part of my repertoire that have allowed me to sustain and grow and try new things. I'm constantly looking for new things. I think the most important, as I look back at my career, I look at the situations I've been in, I think the most important thing is creative thinking skills. It's something that's underrated in business. Your ability to be able to think differently, to be able to bring a different insight to an opportunity or problem. And I look for people, when I look at folks I try to bring to my team, are they conventional thinkers, or are they people who just think differently? And does that difference make a difference in helping the enterprise and helping us all? I often use a sports analogy for folks, and this is probably going to show my age, but there used to be a guy who played in the NBA named Dennis Rodman. And Dennis Rodman was a very different kind of bird. And I used to ask people, if we had a Dennis Rodman type person, would you put that guy on your team, that person on your team? People say, oh, absolutely not. He's crazy. He's, all this stuff. But every team Dennis Rodman went to got better. And why did it get better? Because Dennis Rodman was able to do something that was very different than everybody else. His contributions to the whole team made the team better. And so as a leader, sometimes folks tend to look at people like me, and they want to hire people who are just like themselves. But a good leader is constantly looking at the team as a whole and understanding how each piece part helps aid the whole overall. And so when I look at guys like Dennis Rodman, of course you would hire a guy like him, or a person like him, because he helped make your overall team better, versus if you took him out, you would have had a lot of folks who were just the same.
Now, you've been very successful in your career path so far. You've achieved and getting bigger and bigger each time. You must have encountered discouragement, jealousy, or whatever it is. What keeps you going? What motivates you?
So it's an interesting thing. I've always thought of my career bigger than me. Yes, it's me individually. I'm doing the day-to-day stuff, but I'm very committed to helping other people, young people, women, people of color, achieve. And so there's a sense of duty on my end to be successful, to sort of have the stamina to work through these things, because I can't let down all the folks whom I am trying to help bring up and influence. So there are moments where, you're going to be alone with your own thoughts. And, we all go through it. And you're going to ask yourself, am I all that I could be if not for the fact that I am whatever, African-American, female, whatever it may be. And how you answer that question will determine, how the path you take going forward. Some people will say, yeah, I'm not where I need to be because I'm a minority or I'm a woman or whatever it may be. And then there are others who will say, I'm going to move on and sustain and grow and not be victimized by the situation. So for me, it's really been about, I have a duty, and that duty is greater than me. I feel responsible for helping to bring others along, so I can't fail.
Right, you're part of a movement.
It's part of a movement. It's part of really, I think, making us all better.
Yes.
I think that there's a lot of great talent that gets underutilized, partly because people just have biases. And if we can allow people to sort of open up their mind, embrace differences, then you can see the beauty and talents that reside in a lot of different folks who sometimes don't get the consideration because they don't fit a certain profile or something like that.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you
are
very
a
much.
role model, so I'm very delighted that you're on the show. So thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you, Jessica.
There you have it, folks. Matt Carter, CEO of Aryaka.